I don't know if you've heard of this girl, Rachel Zegler. She's the star of the new Snow White film that's been ratioed into oblivion. The last time I checked, it was 750,000 dislikes on a trailer for the remake of the most beloved Disney movie of all time. But now she's got a movie that's just come out, and we wanted to see whether or not she has the big bucks following her around, whether or not she is the big name that Hollywood seems to pretend like she is. Let's talk about Rachel Zegler's new movie and how poorly it was received here on That Park Place. We're a little bit grateful that we get to be the people to bring you the news, but maybe she's not so grateful out there. Rachel Zegler, horror comedy Y2K continues downward spiral at box office. Is Snow White drama to blame? Now it's going to look like I
loved writing this article this morning.
I loved reading this article this morning.
I promise you that gratefulness.
I was about to write one just on the weekend box office as a whole. And then I saw what this movie did, and I'm like, okay, this gets its own piece. That's its own thing.
Yeah. I promise you guys that it sounds like I was setting this up with the thing about gratefulness. It just happened to be where we were going. I promise you, I actually am grateful for all the things I said I was grateful for. But let's talk about this. Rachel Zegler horror comedy Y2K continues downward spiral at box office. Is Snow White drama to blame? This by Marvin Montanero. Rachel Zegler continues to experience box office woes as her struggling horror comedy Y2K faced a massive 67% drop in its second weekend. I thought this was straight to Netflix.
It wasn't very far to drop. And it managed to drop 67%.
I don't think people are interested in the marketability of this film. I mean, who doesn't like Y2K stories or Rachel Zegler? When Y2K burst onto the scene, it earned a paltry $2.1 million, far less than anyone would expect from a movie featuring someone Hollywood has tried to position as a rising superstar. But that scant $2.1 million opening looked like Avengers Endgame compared to what Zegler's film encountered in its second weekend. There she is, Maria. And not the best shot of her. Coming in number 13 at the domestic box office, Zegler's movie pulled in just $684,957 on just shy of 2,000 screens. For comparison, it fell short of a re-release of the 1954 film White Christmas, which earned $1.1 million on 1,084 screens. Do you know they call it White Christmas because it endured the snow and came out on the other side more feminist? I'm trying to point out how ridiculous Snow White is. It's an awkward joke, but White Christmas, that's a great film. It deserves to be watched.
It's a 70-year-old movie. A 70-year-old movie on half the screens.
It's cherished.
Doubled.
Yeah. That's a really, what is it? Counting, what is it? When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep. Counting My Blessings. I fall asleep counting my blessings. Whatever the name of the song. It's a great song. Also about gratefulness. If we're going to tie it back into that. Wow, we're going to have to make the clip me starting with the gratefulness thing in order for this to make any sense here. It's going to make me look like even more of a jerk. Yes, a 70-year-old movie on nearly half as many screens nearly doubled Zegler's second week in box office gross. I also guarantee you that White Christmas was made for the budget of a stage play. The most expensive thing they probably had was Bing Crosby's salary and some snow effects. White Christmas, classic, right there. Y2K provides an interesting case study in Zegler's popularity and star power. None of her previous high-profile films achieved major success, and all relied on existing intellectual property or personalities. West Side Story was a remake of a classic musical directed by none other than the living legend himself, Steven Spielberg. Guys, Spielberg is a genius. I know that like that is said a lot, but Spielberg is the kind of guy who shows up on set and does things that people have to storyboard for long periods of time. And he just shows up and says, we'll do this one, we'll do that one, and we'll get a shot over here. Like he's really good stuff. Zegler starred as Maria in that film, bombed spectacularly. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Was she not in the first Shazam?
She was not.
Oh, well, that explains why I liked it so much. It was a DC film and one of the final entries in the failed Snyderverse. Zegler played one of the antagonists, and it performed horrifically at the box office. She was an antagonist. I thought she was one of the girls.
No, she's. I believe she's one. Yeah, she's one of the three Furies.
Ah, okay. I thought she was part of the Shazamily for some reason.
No,
No,
Yeah.
but she is at her advanced age chasing around a teenager.
Ooh, that's a little creepy. Just like, never mind, I'm not going to be mean. Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes serves as a prequel to the ultra popular Hunger Games series. Zegler had a starring role, and while the film didn't lose money, it remains the lowest grossing entry in the Hunger Games franchise. Also, it's interesting that the trailers kind of center around people's sentiment towards her character specifically. The trailers are, it's supposed to be Snow, the character played by Donald Sutherland in the original versions. She's supposed to be the Snogbird, and it's kind of about her being protected, which I'm sure that she personally, based off of some of her comments, didn't like it being such a non-feminist attitude here. But it seems like she's not very marketable at the box office in all of this. And of course, talking about Y2K, but then we come to the ultimate example of how Rachel Zegler is probably not. If you're looking just pure numbers in financial returns, it doesn't seem like Snow White is the place that you want to put Rachel Zegler and invest your money.
definitely not. Here's the thing. The point that I was making above is Y2K was the first time that a Hollywood studio was like, hey, come see this Rachel Zegler movie. This movie starring Rachel Zegler that's attached to nothing else that's bigger than Rachel Zegler. Her star power is what's going to sell this movie, and it did what it did. There's no star power. None.
There's none. And I think it's amazing. And when this all started, I don't know how many years ago this all started, where we said, hey, let's talk about these awkward comments from this. There was a very visceral reaction from the internet. I think the internet was very tired of this, but there was a contingent of people who, one, didn't want to see a young actress turned into the next Brie Larson. But now I think she's really earned it. I mean, she's coming out with some very aggressive takes, going into areas that while doing marketing for this film, she's weighed in on geopolitical conflicts. She has gone out and insulted half the country and said some things that would get her banned off of social media if she was a white
Insulted
dude.
her co-star.
Yes.
Compared herself to flawless works of art in the Louvre.
I can't with this person here. Is there any path forward for Rachel Zegler at this point? Like what needs to happen in order to get her a career? Does she need to just start playing evil people for a little while and kind of earn that, I don't want to say Morgan Fairchild cred here, because she definitely is not a Morgan Fairchild here, but be the kind of person who plays bad people for a while so that she can earn some villainy here, maybe a Sandra Bernhard kind of career. What is the thing that it's going to take for Rachel Zegler to make her brand out there in the world and actually make money at acting?
I just stick to Broadway. You can make a fine living as a leading Broadway actress, and I think that's where she needs to stay, because Hollywood studios, if anyone worth their salt, should never touch her again. She's poison.
She's box office poison, and she's poison to herself. Consider that it's her talking about her projects and the things that she's doing that's really, dismantling her future. She is her own worst enemy. She is self-sabotaging in a way that you normally have to plan for.
Agree.
Well, I kind of have to blame Disney a little bit on her, because I think that the things that she came out and said initially when she was cast as Snow White, I'm not going to bleach my skin. We're not going to be saved by the prince. The prince is a stalker.
Such a weird thing to say.
I think Disney armed her with those things. And I think Disney sent her out there to say those things, because at the time Disney thought that virtue signaling was the way to go. And they created a monster with her. And now we're all, feeling the aftermath of it.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.